Oh, gotcha. Got it. Got it.
Yeah. Hello, sparrows. Good day, darlings. What's fabulous with you? What's fabulous with you today, this very moment? What's fabulous with you? Of course, I am Valerie Miller of TVM, the Valerie Miller. Double fold this very moment. You have opportunity to change. I have opportunity to change. You have opportunity to change. All of that good stuff. So just come on into this Sparrow house. We have a great show lined up for you tonight. That we do. It's a great show. We're going to talk about a little bit of mental health and relationships. And of course, all shows come from How I Became Fabulous and a Lady all the time. That's where everything comes from, at least until the end of the week. End of the week. We got book 2 coming out. And of course, co-host for tonight is Broderick Rory. He has over 18 years of amazing information to share that he's gathered coming from the healthcare industry. So, Broderick.
Valerie.
Welcome in.
Thank you. Good
I'm so
evening.
excited you're here.
I'm excited to be here. I really am. Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for allowing me to come on to be co-host.
Absolutely. It's more than an honor. And I'll say this, with all of your expertise that you're going to share, because I know we were talking briefly about the holidays coming up.
Right.
And how tender we can be during the holiday season, because so much happens coming and going with individuals throughout the year. And then by the time the seasons come, when we're looking to be more jovial, guess what? We're sad in places.
We can be, because we're dealing with not just the holidays, but we're also dealing with the changes of the season.
Right.
And a lot of times when the seasons change and we turn the clock back, people deal with seasonal depression.
That is a fact. I was just saying today, I'm not feeling this. Every year I say the same thing. I'm not feeling the darkness early because I'm a light kind of gal.
Exactly.
I love light.
Right.
So what in the world am I supposed to be doing at nightfall? That's how folk get in trouble.
I agree with you, but some people get in trouble in daylight as well.
Daylight as well.
But there are a lot of folks that have trouble with transitioning during this time frame, and they really do experience seasonal depression. But the holidays alone can bring up so much for a lot of people, because sometimes people don't have family.
Exactly.
They don't have family, or it is during this season of the year when they've lost a loved one.
That is heartbreaking,
And
yes.
people don't realize this. Grief, people think you just grieve the loss of someone and then you just get over it. Grief
You do not get
can
over
come
it.
in stages and waves. You could have lost a loved one 10 years ago.
Yes.
And something can happen and impact you and cause you to have grief. And
It
go into
does.
another stage of grief yet again.
A memory,
A memory, a song.
a picture, a song,
A smell.
a place.
All of that
Yeah.
impacts. And when we're talking about mental health, I like to phrase it in this way: emotional wellness.
That sounds
Instead
better.
of
It's not so fracturing.
Right, exactly, because we, people of color,
Yes.
we have challenges with talking about mental health.
That's
Automatically, when you say mental health, you talk
Crazy.
people of color. I'm not crazy.
I'm not crazy. That's exactly what's said.
Right, but it's this. So long as you live here on this earth, you're going to have challenges.
Exactly.
Things going to impact you, how you show up in the world, and your emotional well-being.
It's continual.
Exactly. So there's nothing wrong with talking with someone to help you deal with those life challenges outside of your family, outside of your spiritual leadership.
Right.
I have a therapist, and I've had a
I do
therapist
too.
for years. And the thing about it is this: I just transitioned to a new therapist, and I absolutely love my new therapist
I need a new one.
because for the first time, and In all the years I've been in therapy,
Yeah.
I have someone who looks like me.
Even better.
It's a black man who's a therapist, but that's rare in the field
industry,
of therapy, in the
yeah.
industry, of running across someone who looks like you. But that's, you don't have to worry about explaining cultural differences
Right.
and those subtle nuances that we have as people of color.
It makes a difference.
It makes a huge difference. But having somebody who looks like you and understand, and sometimes you can say a certain phrase and not even finish one entire sentence because he understands
Exactly.
what I'm talking about and where I'm coming from. I'll say, hey, I know what you're saying. I get it.
Well, what do you feel would be the thing? Okay, I'm a conscious lifestyle strategist. So
Okay.
it's all about aligning with your life.
Right.
And my first bullet for what I do is because of grief, right? And who I became due to grief. That's how
Right.
I became who I am. The loss of children, like you were saying, family members. It hits different when you have to face certain types of losses
Right.
when it comes from children. Then at our age, we have parents
Exactly. That are getting older.
that are getting older. So we kind of sort of become the parents. And that's a heavy weight when you're not looking or expecting it. It happens. And then you're engulfed in it. And it's like, when did that happen?
Right. And that goes into another thing that we have to deal with as children dealing with older parents.
Right.
Sometimes we become caregivers.
Right.
And what does that look like, again, for your emotional wellness
Well-being.
and well-being?
Yeah.
If you're the main caregiver and there's no support, that can be a lot taxing on an individual.
It's heavy.
And you have to find the balance. I am about finding balance in my life.
Absolutely.
That is so important, about finding balance in our
Yeah.
lives. And we give so much to this person, that you become the last person on your list.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
and you should not be the last person on your list. When you become the last person on your list, you end up being an empty vessel. And you can't
That's
pour
real.
from an empty vessel.
You can't because there's nothing there.
Right. I live by the philosophy of this, and I took this on some years ago. I make sure that I'm always pouring into my vessel, and what is
First.
in the vessel is for me.
Yes.
And then the overflow goes for everyone
I concur 100%.
else.
You
And-
have to.
Right. And I always pay attention to when my vessel is getting low. My vessel can get low based upon life circumstances. Sometimes it's people and their energy. Because people
Right.
can be draining
Run.
and taxing. So therefore,
On top of toxic.
I notice when I'm around certain people, my energy level gets low.
Leave the room.
How to engage with them.
Right. I don't engage, I leave.
No, exactly. Work can be
Yeah,
taxing.
that's true.
If you have family, you
Right.
have children.
Right.
You're running here, you're running there with your children. Mothers, black women. Black women are the backbone
Of everything.
of the family in many ways. And that's not taking anything away from men at all.
No, they can do more.
But,
I'm going to call a pot a pot.
Okay.
Men can do more.
All right,
I'm just saying.
seem like you feel some kind of way about it.
I do feel some kind of way
Okay.
about it.
Let's
Because
explore
women,
that.
black women, always carry the weight. Always have to be the face of good, no matter if it's bad.
True.
Women tend to neglect themselves.
Very true.
They don't show emotions well because I have to be the strong one. I have to be the leader.
I agree.
I have to be the one to handle this. And including if you have a husband, most times, women got to take care of the husband too, as if he's a kid. I'm not your mama. I'm your spouse.
Right.
I'm just saying, but it's things like that. With the kids, I don't have that, but I see it. I have clients that complain about that.
The imbalance.
And it's the imbalance.
Right.
And it's a lot that I talk to because not always I'm going to have both of them
Right.
in sessions. So I have to look at things that's going to keep her vessel full in order to maintain. There's an eruption eventually,
Right, and-
if that's not resolved.
Right. But that's when you take your partner by the hand.
Listen to all you married people,
That's
y'all
when you
know.
take your partner by the hand and say, baby, we need to have a conversation.
You say that like it's easy.
It's not easy, but think about it. In relationships.
In relationships.
In relationships.
Yes.
Communication is paramount.
It's 100% everything.
And the thing about it is also in communication, you also have to understand the language that your partner, your husband, your wife speaks.
Yeah. That's
and
vital.
learn to speak to them in their language
Absolutely.
if you want to be heard. There's so many people that are in relationships, whether they're married, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever the case may be. Sometimes they're missing each other because of the fact of communication, because you have not taken the time to understand how they communicate. And sometimes communication, in fact, is pausing, looking into your partner's eyes, and just listen. Without interrupting.
Absolutely.
Don't be thinking about formulating the question, because quite often we're listening to respond.
Yes.
Don't listen to respond. Be fully present in the
To
moment
have the
with your
conversation.
partner to have the full conversation.
If you have the time. Time is tight.
But the thing about
I hear you.
But it's not about having the time, it's about making.
It's making the
that
time.
time,
That's where I'm going with it, because you're saying that I have the conversation jar. I always tell clients about the conversation jar.
Right.
Life is busy for most people.
Absolutely.
So if you're coming and going like that, you may not have the time. So that's kind of where I'm going with it. But making the time tonight, at whatever time it is after 7 o'clock. So if you know it's Monday at 7 o'clock, you're gonna talk about whatever notes that might be in that conversation jar. So if it's a pink post-it note for the wife, a blue or green, yellow, whatever for the husband, if something take place within a 7-day period, don't blow. I'll tell her or I'll tell him, don't blow in the midst of moment, because you're accumulating things, energy,
right?
And then we snap in moments. It's not necessary to do that. You go right over to that conversation jar, write down what it is, because you need to have time to come down from that rather than bursting out in the middle of it, to protect feelings and not put yourself in that place.
I agree with you.
But if it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever day of the week that you decide, you make time for each other.
Absolutely, because
and discuss those things.
It's about intentionality.
Right.
I believe in being intentional in your engagement with human beings, but in your interpersonal and intimate relationships, there has to be serious intentionality around it. I understand that life is busy, you have children, you have work, whatever the case may be, but there's so many people grow apart because they forget about what brought them together before they had the children, before they had the careers, before they had the life. You can't forget about your beloved because you have all these other things going on. Even if you have to start out small by setting aside 10 or 15 minutes.
That's important.
A day, start there. Let's set aside 10 or 15 minutes in the day. And whatever works, once you put the children to bed, and everything is shut down, there's nothing wrong with taking the time, go in the bedroom, turn off the television, and just intentionally engage with your beloved.
Yeah.
It creates space and room for your love.
Yeah.
In
Keep
your
it
life.
blooming.
Because love dies in relationships, and it dies because
it becomes dormant. Love don't die.
It does.
It doesn't.
I disagree with you.
I love you.
I love you too.
Okay.
But love can die.
If it's real, it's not.
Define real love.
It's different for each person.
Right. Well, what's your definition?
My definition for love is anything that's sincere and true, that you are committing to another person on that level. You do not, even beyond death. Love is love. It do not die. It's unconditional. That unconditional type of love lives.
Okay. I'm going to
not a fake love.
I'm going to play a devil's advocate with you on that, though.
Talk to me.
Sometimes, I agree with what you're saying, I do. But also, what happens when folks place conditions on that
Yeah.
love.
It's not real love.
Okay.
That's falsified love.
Why?
That's called conditional love.
Right. And again, and the thing is, there are people that love folks based upon what you can do for me,
That.
how you show up in my life, what you provide for me, and I'm with you. That is not real love.
Yeah.
I agree with you. So
Falsified.
you changed my perspective
I love it,
on,
man.
on that, and I like the way you said love is dormant. Now that you said that, I'm gonna sit with that for a minute and
Yeah.
broaden my thought process around it
On that.
because I am a love enthusiast. I just believe
It's
in
beautiful.
love. It's
Believe in love. I do too.
I believe
and
in love.
when you look at it, and the reason I say dormant, because me, I'm conscious thinking all the time, and it's going to unlayer.
Right.
When it's dormant, life is lifing,
That's true.
right? So you have couples that work different shifts, don't always have the time or make the time for each other. They have children. The kids grow up because they're parenting,
Right.
right? And the dormant can be crippling
And
by
that's-
the time the children, they
No, I
become
see-
empty
no, I see
nesters,
where-
right?
Right. I see where you're going.
You see
with
where I'm
this.
going with
Yes,
it?
I do. I get it.
When you become empty nesters because you put so much energy into the children, now they're beginning their lives,
Right.
and you should be enjoying yours because they're now gone, but you don't even know your spouse anymore.
Right. Because now you're going to relearn
Each other.
each other, and on top of it, during that dormancy, you may have grown to a space where you don't like the person that you're with, or you don't like who you are when you're with them because all the energy and time has been invested in pouring in the
Right.
family
Right.
and children, and
Your interests change.
Right.
All of these things
Because-
are not growing together anymore.
because you've gone off and started doing your
Own
own thing, and
That's serious.
no, and there are a lot of couples that actually divorce
After the kids are gone.
after children are gone, because, like you said, that dormancy of,
Yeah.
of
I don't even
love
like you
and
now.
in relation. I don't like you. I love you, but I don't
I
like
love
you.
you, but I don't like you.
Right, and for me, in relationship, I need to like you, not
First.
just love you, because if I like you, and
That
love,
boosts the tolerance
right,
levels.
no, if I
of
like you when
things.
love gets tough, and
Yeah.
we have those moments because I like you, I'm going to stick in that, but also in me liking you, there's friendship in that.
Yes.
And there's so many people that are in relationships and they're not friends with the person
That they say they love.
that they say they love, and they lay beside every night and do all these things, but we're not friends. And friendship is the foundation
Of the relationship.
of the
overall.
relationship overall, along with communication, liking the person, respecting the person, open and honest communication.
Yeah.
You want to say something?
I am about to say something.
Go ahead.
In your line of work, in public health,
Mhm.
it's not always couples.
No, absolutely not.
You have singles,
I work with-
divorcees,
I
you
work-
have it all.
I work with single people, divorced people, folks that are widowed, the gamut.
Okay, give a Cliff Note version of what you are seeing with this section of people. Because I, have some single conversation with the divorcees. I have those types of women, Queens on Quest. It's mostly women that are divorced.
What I'm seeing is there are a lot of people that are hurt.
Deep hurt.
They have serious trauma. They are carrying a lot of shame,
Yeah.
stigma.
Yes.
There is mental illness on various levels. People that are from various walks of life, from the lowest of socioeconomic status to the highest level,
Right.
and in between. But there are a lot of people that are carrying a whole lot of hurt, pain, shame, dysfunction, and
The fear of exposure.
and those things
Yeah.
contribute to where they are in life.
Okay.
I.e., because I've been working in public health for 18 years now. It's hard to believe it's been 18 years, but
Goes fast.
it goes fast. But folks, primarily my focus has been in public health really is around HIV.
Okay.
HIV, education, prevention. I've started as a case manager. I've been to top level, been executive director, and everything in between.
Right.
And providing care. I worked on the clinical side as well. So I've worked on the community-based side and the clinical side. And currently I do crossover in reference to community and clinical side.
Okay.
In my
That's a
current
lot.
role, I cross over both sectors. So I see the clinical side, what happened, because I've ran an infectious disease clinic before, so I've seen the backside of care and that what happens in the community and the intersectionality of the two.
And with all of that said, when you're dealing with HIV,
Stigma, shame, guilt, lack of education,
regret.
and more specifically, we are the leading ones that are leading
now,
the numbers in the country, Black folks.
what's the number?
I just saw this this morning. We are 40, I think it's 48% of the new infection rate in the country. Black folks are. We are.
Black people
Black people.
leading the race in HIV.
Yes. But make up 13% of the country.
Wow.
Yes. And Black women behind men who have sex with men are right there. Right behind it.
But see, that's where things get deep.
Yes.
Because,
very deep.
like you said, men with men.
Yes.
Then you have men with men and women.
Exactly.
The same with women.
But you also have, don't forget, those that actually use substances
Right.
as well.
On top of it.
On top of that. So
It's a variation.
you have a trifecta. There's a variation of it, but the thing about it is this. We don't have the necessary conversations about sex in the way we should have those conversations with our
On
children.
the front end.
On the front end.
Yes.
But also, we don't take responsibility of our own sexual
Health. Right.
And we need to
Right.
have a more informed conversation about sexual health.
Yeah.
Everybody has sex at some point in time. They do.
Absolutely.
You can grow up in some point in time and have sex. And parents need to start educating their kids
From a young age.
From a young age on what is happening with their bodies. It has been shown, and studies have shown, if just because you educate your child on sexual health, it does not mean that they're going to go out
In practice.
and practice
Yeah.
and have sex.
Right. Because they're being put, or they put themselves in positions.
Right, but this is the thing though. It is better for them to learn it in your household
And somebody else.
than somebody else. But this is the
Yeah.
thing. We have this wonderful
Device.
device and technology.
Goes everywhere.
Right, but the thing about it is this. Every child that has a cell phone doesn't always have parental controls.
Unfortunately.
On the cell phone. So therefore,
Unfortunately.
they're going to learn either from you or they're going to learn from their friends. Which would you like?
That's real. And kids today are getting younger and younger and
Right.
younger, exposing themselves
Exactly.
to activities. I'll just say that. Because of what is in their hands.
What's in their
And
hands.
parents have to be responsible for parental guidance and having those conversations. But like I said, younger and younger. When you have kids 7 and 8 years old, I pray for all parents. I pray for parents. I do, because that's a lot to ingest.
I'll say this. My oldest niece and nephew, I started having age-appropriate conversations with them about sex early on. 6 and 8, they were age-appropriate. And as they got older, the conversations increased to
Right.
their level of understanding, and was doing it because I was working in this field.
Yeah.
And
It
I did
helps.
not want them to contract HIV
And be a statistic.
or
in
statistic,
that.
but also sexually transmitted infection. And
It's happening a lot.
but also as they got older, I also combined not just what was happening with their body. I really focused on the emotional part of when you engage with another human being from a sexual aspect.
Yeah.
Because what we fail to realize is this: every time you have sex with a person, you're giving a part
of you.
of yourself
Yes.
to that person, but
Spirit to
also
spirit.
you're also sleeping with every
Everybody
other
they
person
slept
that
with.
they have slept with. And when you
Right.
teach those things to folks, that gives them pause and cause to think. Because part of doing the work with HIV is also talking to people about their risk factors, the things that are
Exactly.
putting them, why are they putting themselves at risk?
Yes.
You need
That's
to,
a million-dollar
you need to get
question.
to the core and the root of why is somebody giving themselves to
Away.
another person
Like that. Freely.
without thinking about
Protection.
contraception. There's PrEP now, pre-exposure prophylaxis, where you can take a pill or a shot
Right.
to prevent HIV, but that only prevents HIV, not sexually transmitted infections. But again, it's a meaty conversation. It's a
Right.
meaty conversation that we as people of color need to start having in our households. And most people are like, oh, you can't have the conversation with my child.
Yes, you
okay,
can.
you can have the conversation with your child at a level of them understanding and let it graduate as they get older, because this is the thing. Your child's going to grow up at some point in time. They're not always going to stay a baby.
They're growing fast.
You're raising an adult
Yeah.
that's going to go out into the world. And I don't have children, but my niece and nephew like my children. It is our responsibility to equip them with what they
Knowledge.
need to know
Right.
to go out into the world to be healthy,
Responsible
whole,
adults.
responsible adults.
Right.
Children are a gift.
Well, they are a gift.
They're a gift, and it's up to us to pour into the gift.
Prepare them
Prepare them for the world.
as much as you can.
Right, but-
They're still going to be exposed to different things at different
Right.
times.
And I'm saying that because in this work, I have run into so many young people who are in their early 20s and mid-20s who clearly are not prepared for the world. And they're sitting across from me, and we're having a conversation about you being HIV positive,
Right.
which has forever now changed your world. And if you're not prepared for the world, now your world is shifted to where, guess what? You really have to be prepared for the world, because if you want to live, you need to take your medication, but also you have to come to the doctor on a consistent basis.
Yeah. And that's going to affect ongoing relationships, because that's something you're going to have a conversation about. You have to
Exactly.
share that information.
There you go.
And to flip that a little, you have adults out here not responsible. We're talking about the children
Let's-
and educating them.
Look.
You have full-grown adults
Who are
who are
irresponsible.
very irresponsible.
Yes. I can't tell you the countless times that I've had my sisters, beautiful sisters, look
There.
like you, sitting across from me. They're nervous. They're in tears because they're coming in for an HIV test
Wow.
or an STI test for STIs. And my first question to them is, where's your man? And I said, I'm not saying it out of disrespect, but you're here in tears, and where's he?
Out there doing what he do.
But that's my point. And I'm saying that to her for her to be more conscious of that.
Yeah.
Because you
Who are
should
you
be in here.
associating with?
There you go. You should be
It's your
here
choice.
together, because you're here crying and in tears and upset because you could potentially have HIV and or STI. When I go out in the community and talk, and especially when I'm talking to people about relationships, especially
Right.
if you're entering into a relationship for the first time, before you decide to do with someone, I always encourage them, go get a full
Exam.
STI panel.
Yeah.
For both of you all.
That
And
should be the first date. I remember I did that. 90s, 2000, like somebody knew that I met, and I knew it was going to be going to that. First of all, shouldn't be doing it. But we do.
We do.
But at the same time, when you're not in that middle of abstinence, because I know me, I'll be full throttle in it. You know, legs crossed, ankles, everything. Don't even have a conversation about that because I'm not in that space.
Right.
But there was a time, and I still believe in it. If you're interested in me that way, you're asking me out on a date. You know what the first date is? A doctor's appointment. Because I need to know your status. I'm serious.
Your first date is a doctor's appointment?
Yeah. Either that or you go and you have to bring your paperwork back. I need to see that. Like, I love me that much.
No, and that is so true. And that's what we need to do as full-grown adults entering into relationships.
I'm not going to be an
At some point in
aftermath.
time, even if you think you're going to have sex with this person,
Be smart.
Be smart and take ownership of your own sexual health. Go get a full panel. Both of you all show each other your results. That way you know what you're starting with. And then if something happens along the way, you know what.
It's over.
What it is. Because there's so many people who don't know, and it's about being adult and having sometimes an uncomfortable conversations. And the thing about it is, if you don't know how to have the conversation, there are organizations out there that can teach you how to have the conversation.
How is it uncomfortable? I'm going to say this. It shouldn't be uncomfortable to have a conversation on the front end versus performing an act.
Okay. Well,
performing an act. You're not embarrassed then.
Let me tell you. In my 18 years of working in public health,
I'm just saying.
You would be amazed.
Grow up.
Okay, you would be amazed at the number of people
I agree.
who do not know how to have a conversation. But it's also about power dynamics in relationships as well.
Yes.
Because there are power dynamics, i.e., there are some men that are very forceful and strong, and there are some women who have a voice, but their voice is not as powerful as it should be when it comes to.
I wasn't always like this.
That's what I'm saying. You grew to
I
that
had
place.
to.
And there's some women who've not grown to that place, and that's not but also there's some men in the same way because we're human beings. We're human beings, and some of us don't have powerful voices. We don't own our place in the world, and we get with people where there's this imbalance.
It's a control thing.
And when there's an imbalance,
director, I say.
Right. Imagine trying to have a conversation about sexual health when there's this power dynamic in the construct of the relationship.
That's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate, but it's true.
It's
because
true.
we're human beings.
It's true.
And by us being human beings, there are natural power dynamics.
Exactly.
And people don't meet each other on the same plane.
I can come off real strong sometimes, but this belongs to me.
But there's nothing wrong with that. That means you're grounded.
Okay.
That means you're grounded and centered in who you are, and you own your personage.
I do, and it goes back to knowing who you are.
Right.
Let's kind of tap into that on the identity side.
Right.
And it's perfect to have this conversation tonight because that's what the second book is about. Identity, knowing who you are, respecting yourself, not being embarrassed or hurt behind things that have already taken place, growing beyond it. It takes effort, it takes time, it takes intention.
It takes investment.
And an investment in yourself. We were talking about having a counselor or some type of therapist or coach. It's a necessity in life, this day and age. And I had somebody say to me before, Val, what you do is a luxury. I said, girl, if you don't stop.
What do they mean by that?
I said, if you don't stop, it's not a luxury for somebody to invest in their lives and have alignment. God gave us all birthright gifts. He gave us a purpose to live. So it's not a luxury, it's a necessity.
Okay. Just so that I'm clear, I want to make sure I'm clear about what you just said. So
yeah.
She was saying that it's a luxury for you to take the time to invest in yourself?
No, she said what I do as a conscious lifestyle strategist.
Got it.
It's a luxury. Most people don't do it. And I said, most people don't, but you'll be surprised of the ones that do. And they're willing to pay top dollar to get the help that they need to align in their lives.
I'm going to go with you and say this. Everybody needs a therapist.
Everybody needs it.
But you people won't believe that, but I'm going to tell you this from personal lived experience, but also just someone like you who is conscious and grown to another level of consciousness, and I really pay attention to the world and people around me, and part of my job and my purpose is to help people become aware in their best selves, because if people don't know this, I do life coaching. I do life coaching as well because I've grown to this place of I feel people, I see them, and people are amazed when I come in and tell them, say, come here. And they don't know why, but I've already sensed it, I've felt it, and I see it.
You know it.
I do quite often at work. I have a colleague, I can walk into her office, she's like, you know, don't you?
Absolutely.
I absolutely do. I said, come over here.
That's a gift within itself.
Because the thing about it is this, the work that we do in public health, we deal with a lot of people who are trauma.
Right.
They're carrying a whole lot of trauma and hurt. And if we're not in a good place, we can't provide the best care and service to them because we are putting our stuff
mixing it in there
on folks. And when you're working with people, especially when you're working in situations where you're dealing with people's lives, you have to be become very self-aware and conscious of who you are and the energy that you're carrying. And if you know how to set stuff aside,
you have to just take that layer off, like hanging in the closet. You do, because I know I worked 5 years with the Welfare to Work program here in Charlotte for Mecklenburg County, and the participants that came in that I worked with and trained every day would tell you stories that will blow your mind.
Exactly.
It will blow your mind, and it got to so heavy to the point to where that's where I would bring that stuff home.
Right.
You know, it's hard to take it off at the door of work when you know you have clients or you have somebody who are dealing with so many emotional traumas.
Exactly.
And things like that. But you get to go home and you don't have that. But you know individuals that do. That was probably the hardest job I ever had, but it was also the most rewarding because I get to help them layer that stuff out.
Absolutely.
And just being there to hear them or help them find a job or just help them to go to the place to where they can get a GED. The basics that we have and most take advantage of. It's just
anything.
It's serious.
Social services, public health, healthcare as a whole is very challenging, and if people don't believe that, COVID proved show that to be so true. And it requires people of a different, I won't say caliber, but a uniqueness that and capacity that's beyond the norm of caring for people, because you have to have a heart for people to work in this field. And over the course of 18 years, I tried to divorce. I tried to break up with public health, but every time I tried to break up and or divorce it, something will happen where I will engage with the people that I'm working with, and it will remind me of why I do what I do and why I love what I do. And it fuels me to continue on. But I want to help us end this epidemic.
That was something.
I want us to help us end this epidemic, but it's going to take a lot. And we as Black folks, I'm not knocking us, but we need to come to another level of consciousness in this country.
Yeah, there are some.
We need to come to another
there
level
are
of
some,
consciousness.
you know, it's more that are than aren't.
In terms of how we're seen in this country, but
Right.
also how we engage
With
with
each
one
other.
another, and the level of accountability and ownership for our bodies,
Right.
our families, our life. And we keep, I don't know how the best way to frame this. We keep killing ourselves,
Unfortunately,
unfortunately. And
in more ways than one.
exactly. And we don't have to worry about outsiders doing it.
You're doing it in-house.
We're doing it in-house.
Yeah.
And that's a whole
The community as a
nother,
whole.
that's a whole nother conversation that some
Yeah, I
people
don't have that kind of
want
time
to
today.
have.
Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah.
just being honest. There's so many conversations that we need to have. I love us. I love my people. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
But
being
we're
who I
becoming
am.
extinct
Exactly. And we're helping them
to do it.
to do it. And that's just real talk. So, question is, what do we do
To stop it.
to stop it? But one of the things that we can do is having platforms like this.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the work that you're doing to raise people's consciousness in various ways, because it's needed.
Thank you. It is.
No, your books,
is.
and even creating this space for us to have this conversation. An idea just came to me about you and what you could do.
Me?
And yes, in reference to broadening this. Have you ever thought about taking it on the road and having a town hall around certain topics that are impacting the Black community?
I didn't. Are you helping me?
I can help you.
Okay.
I want to help you. I'm serious.
If you're gonna help
No,
me, I
no,
can't
no,
do this.
no.
Do you understand my platter is overflowing?
I understand your part.
Okay.
That's why I just put something else on your platter.
You just broke it.
I did. Because,
Okay.
Because again, it is needed. We need to bring
Right.
community together
Together.
and have conversations.
Real conversations.
And be willing to come into the room and be respectful and have honest conversations. Because the thing about it is this: why should we always have to be at each other like this?
Yeah.
I believe in creating safe spaces for intentional and purposeful and meaningful conversations.
Right.
Because we can't
Lead in love with it.
There you go.
You have to lead in love with everything.
Exactly. But we can't grow and become better if we keep tearing each other down.
Exactly.
We're so much better when we're like this than when we're like this.
Yeah. I'm just gonna hug you. I got a mad hug. I'm gonna tell you.
So do I. The thing about
Hugs calm spirits.
exactly. And,
They do.
And I use that quite often at work. No, seriously.
Yeah.
No, because again, I work with people who oftentimes are traumatized. And just give you an example. Last week I had a client that was upset about something that was outside of me. And what I did is I told her, we're not going to do this what you're doing. We're not going to engage in this manner in this way. We have no ought with each other. I said,
Yes.
but before you leave this space, I'm going to love on you because you need somebody to love you. And I'm clear about
Yes.
that. You need somebody to love you.
Yeah.
And I wrapped her up and gave her one of the biggest hugs, and I dispelled all of that energy. Because
Yeah.
quite often, people are hurting, and these outbursts
That's
that they
true.
give is from hurt.
It is, and they don't. You're right. They
It
don't
hurts.
have somebody to just sit and have that. Or just give a
Conversation. But-
simple hug.
But
It goes far.
just to show them that they actually are lovable and that somebody
Right.
actually cares.
You know, I had a challenge back in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Every month, I did a different challenge, and one of those months, it was the hug challenge. You had to hug at least one person a day, and I put that out there. But I made it a point to hug people that I did not know.
No. Right.
I could be at the bank or the gas station. I said, you know what? I have a challenge going on. I'm giving away hugs. Would you like one? And sometimes they'll look and like, are you serious, lady? Like for real.
Right.
And so then they'll get a hug, but then they were introduced to that mad hug that I be giving. You know, like I told you today, a guy just random said, can I have a hug? I said, child.
But energy.
It's the energy, and I put
Light.
it off.
Energy and your light.
Yeah.
No, because
I gave him a hug.
I was at Walmart probably 2 months ago, And
Yeah.
I was in line, and the woman in front of me was giving that cashier such a
Hard time.
difficult time. And she felt just so deflated and everything else. I said, before you even ring me up, come on from behind the counter.
You are quick to do that.
I said, come from behind the counter. I said, because, I said, is it okay for me to hug you? I said, because I heard the whole entire exchange. I said, mean, nasty, rude for no reason. And I said, I don't want you to think that everybody in the world is like this. And I know you have more time to work, so let me show
Release
you.
that.
Exactly. And my
Yeah,
point
let it
was
go.
for her to release it.
Right.
Transfer the energy to me.
So she can have a better day.
Exactly. And now every time I go to Walmart,
She remembers you.
she remembers me. Because
Yeah.
again, showing somebody some kindness and
Some
compassion
care, yeah.
in a difficult moment can shift
Priceless.
their world. And we also as human beings need to be more cognizant of how we engage with one another, but also be kind to people that are working in customer service.
That's a hard
It's
space
a hard
to
thing.
be in.
And reason, because I worked in customer service, so I know.
Everything has customer service.
Everything has customer
tendencies,
service. Exactly.
You
But
know,
just extend a little bit of grace and kindness and
Right.
compassion to someone. You don't know what push they may have had to do
to get
to
there. You
get
don't know what
there.
they're dealing with on a daily
Exactly.
level.
Because we all are dealing with something.
Right. And
Or some
everybody's
things.
not, that far away from SNAP. So just
Exactly.
don't encourage it, but just show more love in the
Right.
midst of it. But this conversation can go on and on and on. What I will say, with the holidays coming up, grant yourself some grace.
Exactly.
Take the time that you need to decompress coming off of your day-to-days. If you're in a relationship, if you're not in a relationship, date you. Make the holidays amazing. Do something grand with your family. Because I know we're planning around Christmas to go see The Color Purple.
Okay.
We're excited about that, and to do something different.
Right.
Families are getting smaller and smaller.
So true.
And you have to be creative with the things that's going to bring joy to those that you're blessed to spend that time with
Right.
at those pivotal times. So be sure to do something different this holiday season between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And it is boo season. People tend to want to be booed up. It's dark outside.
Right.
So
No,
they get into some stuff, but I don't want you to get into anything.
Because have you heard the term cuffing season?
Cuffing same.
Yeah, we in that season where
It heats up.
right
When time change.
where you find a temporary boo until springtime.
Don't do that.
So many people do.
They do, but I'm saying don't
Right.
do that,
I'm-
because that's how you rack up your numbers. That's how you do things that's not intended.
Right.
Invest in yourself.
But there's so many people who are afraid to be themselves, but also be alone.
Well, they don't know how to be with themselves because
Right.
they have been introduced to themselves.
Right.
That's what I do. I can help them.
You can help them.
You can help them too.
Exactly, but there's so many people that go from one relationship to the other.
Because they're afraid of being alone.
Right, because they don't like what they see.
But you and I were talking just yesterday about,
Right.
I'm an advocate for Isolation Island. I have a whole chapter on Isolation Island in the new book and how important it is
I'm an advocate.
to be alone with yourself and the
I'm
Lord.
an advocate for self-care,
Yeah.
taking time out for yourself, doing special things for yourself. Every week.
By yourself.
Every week, I do stuff for myself. I go to the movies by myself. Some people can't go to the movies by themselves. I go to the movies by myself.
eat dinner by
I go out
myself.
to eat by myself.
Yeah, and have a good time.
I travel by myself at times because the
that
thing about it
too.
is this. I like who I am,
I
but
love
also
me.
love who I am, and it's not from an arrogant place. And the fact is this:
It's a
the
confidence
longest
thing.
relationship that we will have in life is with ourselves.
ourselves.
And if I'm not good to me, how am I going
Who's
to
going to
expect
be?
somebody else to be good to me?
They don't have to be good to me because I'm amazing to me.
There you go. Exactly. But circling back to what you were saying, because
Yeah.
as we're slowly closing this out, I want people to really take the time to enjoy the holiday season for one.
Yeah.
But also be cognizant of those toxic family members and friends who bring drama and chaos to your life and ruin your holidays. You don't have, just because you're blood related to them does not mean that you have to put up with disrespect and drama and chaos.
No.
Love your family, but also respect yourself enough to remove yourself
Limit
from
your time.
situations that
Yeah.
disturb your peace.
Yeah.
And don't allow people to disturb your peace. Because I love family. I'm a huge advocate for
Family first, you know,
Family
I'm all for
right.
it.
But at the same time, we all have those family members
It's gonna be them. It's gonna be some.
that you have to put on the peripheral of your life
Yeah.
and not let them disturb your peace.
Not.
Love them, say hello, goodbye, but don't engage.
Keep it minimal
There you go, just for you.
and focus on you.
Exactly.
You
But
greater.
enjoy the holidays, but also make sure you take the time just to do something special
For
yourself. Because again, the holidays chaotic. You went in here, you went in there, you're doing this and that and the other, and before you know it, holidays are gone and you're tired
Yeah.
and you're worn down. Going back again, making sure that
Amazing.
your cup is full. Fill your cup up.
Overfill it.
Let it overflow. Let it overflow with love, kindness, compassion, forgiveness, and understanding,
Yeah.
and patience.
Yeah. Goodness grace.
Yeah,
Grace first.
exactly.
But listen, because the hour's gone by.
Exactly.
I told you to go quick.
It did.
A lot of the sparrows already know who you are. But where could they find you?
Where can they find me? You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on IG.
Well, what's your handle?
My handle on Facebook is Broderick Brock Rory. On Instagram is Brock D Pate. On TikTok is Brock Pate as well.
And of course, you're gonna just put those in comments, right?
I will put
you're
them
gonna
in
go
comments.
ahead and do that because this one right here, he writes articles for a magazine.
You're telling my business now.
I'm going to tell it. He does that quarterly,
Yes.
and it's amazing. The articles, I read them often. Most times I miss it. You have to start tagging me in it.
I'll tag you in it.
But the thing is, he writes these articles. Is it okay if I share about what's coming?
Sure.
He has a podcast that's going to be coming out soon. And we vibe so well. And you know what, y'all? I'm going to just say it out loud. I have such amazing family. Smart, beautiful, handsome, however, outright talented. And that's why family first is with me. If you notice on my shows, I always lead with family. I lead with family because why bring other people on to have conversations around topics when I have family that I can present? And I know you're going to be rolling out your podcast in 2024.
I will. I am.
And I'm very proud of you with these articles that you write.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And just continue to be a blessing to everybody you encounter.
You got me speechless. But first and foremost, I really do thank you for allowing me to come on and to share. Because when you find your purpose and you understand what your purpose is and you own it and you walk in it,
Yes.
although it may be times it may be scary, be fearful of it, I really have gotten grounded in it. I really want to help people live their best lives.
Every
and,
day.
And since I said yes to this, God keep opening the door for me to share my gifts and my talents with them. Because like I said, the magazine. I've been writing for this magazine for 2 years, and she found me on Facebook because she was following based upon my daily post.
Yes.
And I started with inspirational posts on Facebook to inspire and uplift people. I decided to use that platform to pour into people and to give people, uplift them, express some kindness and love.
Yeah.
And I thought it was going to be a one-off, and then it just kept on. Now here it is 2 years later that I am writing for her, and we're already going into 2024, and she wants to continue on to 2024. And most of our articles are centered on self-care, inspirational, helping people dig deep into themselves and be purposeful about living their best life. That is what I'm here for, is to love people, but to teach people how to love themselves from the inside out. And I am so intentional about it.
Yeah. And it exudes. It shows. And that's why we ping pong off of each other all the time. And it's just a breath of fresh air when you can have somebody that's on that level where you are without having to, how can I say that kind?
Just say it.
Well, not everybody can hold a conversation, put it that way. And it's a struggle. It's a struggle. But it's a beautiful thing. I am in my calling. You're in your calling. And it's nothing I want to do other than, even when I was in corporate life, this is not a lie. That last job, when I was at HP, I would work for HP. I did more sessions at my desk. It was almost like, okay, paint the picture, a meat market where you have to come in and get a number.
Right.
Because there's always somebody waiting to come next. I need to do my job. It was hard for me to work because of the people that came. I even said to some of the executives, I think you should probably put me in an office somewhere in the back, and y'all should really just give me a whole different role to maintain the emotional health of the people here.
Absolutely.
And unlayering some things. I don't know if they ever did anything about that, because it was a lot of stresses with the people that I worked with. They were in the wrong role.
Right.
They applied for a job because of a salary.
Right.
They got the job but didn't like the job. And all they needed to do was make a shift to do something they absolutely love. If they did a better process, employers, period, and it's probably something I can do in the future, not now, but reach out to some of these employers here, because there was some in Atlanta that I had started engaging with about this very thing, to have better assessments of the people that they bring in for the roles, to make sure they understand why they want the job. And I recall saying to several people, why did you apply for this job? And they'll tell me,
money.
It was the money. I said, but what actually bring you joy? Like, you can get up in the morning and whistle, you can do it all day. You would do it without a paycheck. And they would tell me that. I said, why aren't you doing it?
Because money.
It's not always about the money, because you need money to live.
Right.
Absolutely. But you're investing your life doing something that's killing you every day.
Because people get trapped in trying to live like the Joneses in what society think and believe they should be, rather than doing what feeds their souls and their spirit.
Yeah, you'll live longer.
Exactly.
And it is true.
And you find more fulfillment in your job, but also that fulfillment will spread into other areas of your life.
It does.
There's nothing worse than going to a job that you not only dislike, but you hate. And hate is a strong word, but there's some people who actually
They literally
hate their job, but it also shows up in their performance, how they engage with their colleagues.
At home.
And also, they bring that hatred
It's home.
to home, because if I've spent 8 hours, 9 hours in a job that I hate, energy is people don't believe in energy, but energy is transferable.
Yeah, and then she want to talk about you leaving your socks out.
Exactly.
Why didn't you put that in the laundry? You know, it's stuff like that. And then here you go.
But
gotta walk off.
But you know,
but
you and I can go on.
I know we gotta come to a screeching halt, y'all. It is time. Thank each and every one of you for showing up. And hopefully it was some value in the conversations that we've had tonight that can sow a positive seed in your lives. That's my prayer. I want to thank you, Broderick, for showing up and sitting next to me, because I'm getting a kick out of this. I told y'all this, you know, I was going to be changing things up with the platform. I want to be sitting next to my guests versus a split screen. Now, it's still going to be some that will be split screen, but the locals, the people I can genuinely get to, I am going to do that. I'm going to do that, and I love you guys that much. It's conversations that I have with, you know, clients that I may be working with, different things that I'm engaging with on a day-to-day and bringing about, and I like having co-hosts. So you were the first one.
Well, I'm honored. And
I'm going to have the co-host thing because it's going to be necessary, and we're live on location. We're at Hilton University here in Charlotte, and so you're going to be seeing me pop up in different places around the city with people that I like and love, serving you the juice that's going to give you perspective to look at things differently in your life. By the end of the week, Saturday, Lord willing, I can get a proof in my hand for the book release, because November 11 is releasing. So it's still a few things with the publishing company. So just know that it's coming out, because understanding who you are and aligning with your identity, the purpose of you being born, it is necessary. I'm grateful for how I became fabulous. This, like my whole 3-part trilogy, Eat, Pray, Love. So this is the Eat, the Pray is coming out this weekend, and the Love will probably be sometime in the next year. I'm not even saying too much about it, but you guys are phenomenal. I love you from my heart to yours. And I want each of you to aspire to be your greatest in all things. This is the last quarter of this year. We only have another month. We're in November. So by December, have plans of things. Make it plain. Whatever your visions are. Habakkuk 2, 2, and 3. Make sure you write down what you desire for this coming year. Make the changes that you're praying about. Don't sit still on it. Become it. It's your choice. It's your will. Make it viable and in true life form. With that said, anything else you want to share?
I love you, cousin.
I love you back.
Thank you for allowing me to co-host, to be your first co-host. And I want to wish everyone a happy, prosperous, wonderful holiday season. And remember to lead with love.
Lead with love. That is it. And with that said, love without conditions. Always possess a positive attitude and soar in all you do. I love you, mean it. Switches.